amazing example of incredible emotion behind the vocal. One thing that I notice is that a lot of singers can be extremely calculated when it comes to using emotion in a song.
Run, run, lost boy, they say to me.
So if you're watching this video, you most likely know of Journey. Steve Perry, the former singer of Journey, has definitely gone through some voice changes. Let's check it out.
Lying beside you, here in the dark, feeling your heartbeat with mine.
So amazing so far. It sounds, if you know this record, Open Arms, it sounds so close to the record. His voice is almost flawless here. There's nothing much to critique here.
Softly you whisper, you're so sincere. How could our love be so blind?
That is amazing. Like, just incredible vocal technique right there. Coming in so soft. It's so hard to sing that live properly. Now let's take a listen to what he's like today. This is from 2014 with the Eels.
We drifted apart. I'm here, you are by my side.
Okay, so definitely right off the bat, there's a lot of changes going on. Now, not commenting good or bad, but there are some changes happening. His voice has almost settled into a lower timbre. If you listen to the recording when he's younger, you could tell he definitely has a high tenor voice, whereas here it is much lower. Now this could be a result of many different factors. Constantly touring when he was younger, doing things with his voice that he shouldn't have done when he was younger, that forced him to lose his voice. But let's continue on. Let's listen to how he approaches for the chorus. So the key is definitely lowered, and he's much more in a covered position when he's doing it. All of his vowels are more covered, except for... So except for U. U is much more splatted. So now I come to ya, ya. He's approaching with that type of widened mouth position. That's splatting the vowel, because we don't say, now I come to ya with open arms. We say, and now I come to you. And now I come to you. Right? That's how we would sing it. That's not how he's approaching it. Now let's hear how he approaches it when he was much younger. There's also a much greater level of vocal flexibility. You could just tell he has a much more flexible instrument when he's singing when he's much younger, whereas when he gets older, it sounds much more stiff. It's heavier, and a lot of people actually say that they enjoy him as an older singer, but if you're looking at it from a technical perspective, technically his voice is a little bit more rigid as he gets older. And so here, it's very different approach to his high notes than he does on the newer video. Here he's got really wide spread mouth for the entire thing, but part of that is the range that he's in. He's in a much higher range where he requires a little bit more of a shorter instrument. So when you smile into the sound, it shortens the instrument because it heightens the larynx. So that's really what you're hearing here, is a shorter instrument with a much wider spread of the mouth as he's going. And so if you're singing up in this range, we need to sing with this type of approach. So let's take a listen again. Right, so now I come to you with open arms. Right, so we need to open up and widen a little bit to hit those higher notes, because they're not sitting low in our range, they're sitting much higher. Whereas these notes are easier for him to hit if he was younger, but they can be more covered. They actually need to be more covered, so he's doing that correctly. I would have just gotten him to say, come to you, a little bit more you as opposed to yeah in this range, in the lower range. So again, come to you. So now I come to you. It's got to have a little more you on it.
Believe what I say, so here I am with love and all.
Right, so there again, he widened a little bit too wide for this range because he's lower down than the original. And this one, he's singing closer to the way he did it when he was younger, when he was singing much higher, right? So for this part, we would actually, how I would have him adjust it is...
Believe what I say, so here I am.
So there, it almost sounds like, here I am. We want to go more, here I am. Just the way you would speak it. We just want to speak it out like that. So here I am with open arms. Just the way you would talk it out. It sounds so much more conversational and so much more relatable when you sing it that way because it's intelligible.
Open arms.
I really like the way that he ended that there. Open arms with his more like lower robust voice. That sounds really good. So now comparing that to the way that he's doing it here when he was much younger. See, when he's younger, it just, his voice gives off this feeling like there's no ceiling to his voice. Like his voice could just keep going higher and higher and higher. And there's no like thing keeping him down or heaviness or weight. There's almost like no vocal weight as he's doing it. It's so released. Whereas when you're listening to his older self singing it, there definitely feels like there's upper range that he just can't go any, there's a ceiling that he can't go any higher. He'll just hit a wall. That's the impression that's given when he's singing it. So a totally different approach on the ending part of it. And I actually like the way that he ended it when he was older. It sounds better. And so that's even harder to do. Now he's going up to the chorus high notes, but he doesn't have all the backing vocals and really loud instruments to kind of help boost him up there. He's really standing alone there, and that was really, really good that how he hit it so easily. So listen again. And I think that word, what does he sing there? I think he says living alone, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so he's singing living alone, but he doesn't go living alone, right? He actually goes much wider on that note. If you listen. So he almost sings it, laving, almost like, it almost sounds like he's saying loving alone. But really, I would have him narrow that one down just to sound a little bit more intelligible. Living alone. Right, you'd find so much more clarity on that vowel if he kept it more true. Okay, so there again, he brightens up, but because wanting you near is a little bit wider already naturally, wanting you near, right? So he goes a little bit wider on the wa, ah vowel. Wanting you near. Doesn't even say near. I think even that could be adjusted a little bit to bring out a little more clarity. Right, so it sounds like wanting you there because he's so bright on and wide on that. Wanting you there, but it's supposed to be wanting you near. So a small adjustment that I would make there to just bring it a little closer to wanting you near would just be narrowing down that vowel a little bit, not so much. So you'd want to go, wanting you near. Even just going a little bit more to an E would help. You don't even need to narrow it down so much. Just more finding a little, instead of nah, finding near a little bit better. All right, so comparing that to Steve Perry in 2014.
Living without you, letting us know this empty house seems so cold.
So So here it also sounds like he's not as controlled with his volume levels. Whereas when he was younger, he kept everything very clear as far as the volume he wanted to output as he was singing. But here it sounds like he's allowing too much volume and overloading the vocal cords with too much air pressure. And so that's leading to a little bit of raspiness that doesn't sound like it's coming from the healthiest place here. But as far as his vowel work goes, that was much closer to the way you would speak it than the way that he did it when he was much younger. However, it's really important to remember that this is in a lower key where it's much easier to keep the vowels more narrow. Amazing example of incredible emotion behind the vocal. One thing that I notice is that a lot of singers can be extremely calculated when it comes to using emotion in a song. And to a certain degree, there's reason to do that because when you have complete unbridled emotion, it can lead to finding a little bit of strain in the throat because of that intense emotion. So we always need to balance out, temper our emotion with our level of technique. And so if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about technique and how to improve your voice, please check out here. I've got a link to a free lesson on my website. Go there. But it sounds like the older Steve Perry is allowing much more unbridled emotion out. Whereas, and when he was younger, he was singing it a little bit more calculated with his emotion. See, it's all right in that same pocket where the first chorus was, whereas the 2014 version, he had much more unbridled emotion in the second chorus. And so there is a perfect example of what happens when you just let too much emotion flow through, is that your voice just can cease on you. And that's essentially what happened. If you listen right there. So right there on say, just too much emotion coming through, we would need to temper that back with a little bit more technique so that we don't have the voice giving up on us. I hope that makes sense. Awesome. That was a really nice coming from that super energetic, very intense emotion, pulling it back and finding a little bit more of a relaxed, chilled out vocal. That is not easy to do, and especially keeping it together after so much intensity on that high note. But you could tell when he's younger, there's just this ease that isn't quite there as he gets older. And again, we can all speculate reasons why it potentially happened, but there is a very clear timbral difference and quality difference to his voice as he got older. And from a purely technical standpoint, when he was younger, he was singing with a lot more technical prowess. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you benefited and learned something from it. If you did, please feel free to subscribe. And if you like this video, I'm sure you're going to like this one too. So check it out.